Go 2 or 3 minutes. Hey everybody! Hello. Let's see.
Live.
We are getting started here. Hello, if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We are. Wow. Where did? There it is. I did the wrong one. Let me see. Where's my? That's the one. I was showing a messed up version of the of the 3-up with the chat and stuff. It was all wonker-jawed. Wonker-jawed is a technical term. I don't know if many people know that or not.
Wonker-jawed. It's in the textbooks.
Yes.
For audiovisual, which is always funny. Textbooks for audiovisual are funny because they're obsolete by the time they come out.
That's exactly right.
I've faced this when I've taught at the college level, and it's like, yeah, I mean, we can get textbooks, but it's not like it. Like when I was in college, I had a textbook that had stuff that was kind of current and would have been current for many years. Mm-hmm. Now, it's hard to find something that can be current for many years, period, when it comes to technology. So, you make a book 5 years ago, just think about what things looked like 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So, very interesting.
Yeah, it's as soon as it comes out, it's obsolete. It's old. There's a better way to do it by now.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. I'll never forget. There was a company I bought a computer from. It was like an individually owned company. They built IBM clones. This is a long time ago, obviously,
like
and
Compaq or something like that.
Yeah, but they were individually owned, so they would build them, and it was the best price you were going to find, and it was called Megahertz Computers, and their name was a little dated after just a few years, because when I went to buy my next computer, they were gigahertz computers. So I was like, maybe you should not follow that theme, because you're just going to end up continually having to change your name as the technology changes. So
that's right.
Yeah,
that is right.
So good old Megahertz Computers.
Yeah.
Anybody want to buy a computer from Megahertz Computers today?
Yeah.
Good old Megahertz.
I remember that reminds me, when I got my first computer, when I first started, I had I was doing an Atari 400, then an Atari 800, then I got a Commodore 64, and the 64, my grandfather got the 128, so we were able to share software and all that. But then when I graduated, my dad got me from Hyundai, like the car. I got a Hyundai 386 16 megahertz computer that had 2 megabytes of RAM, and Dad bought an extra 2 megabytes, so I had 4 megabytes of RAM, and I had I think it was like a 10 or 20 megabyte hard drive, something like that. I mean, it was maybe 100 megabyte hard drive. Yeah, I mean,
huge.
It was, yes, yeah, it wasn't, it at the time it was. There was a time when Bill Gates...
It wasn't kilobytes.
No. There was, we did everything in kilobytes. That's where we developed and thought. Bill Gates said that he said, like, he could never foresee a time when 512K of RAM would not be enough for people to do stuff, to do all the computing that they needed to do. Let's see, I've got 32 gigs in this machine, and I could probably do with another 32.
Yeah, my first computer was an IBM PC Junior.
Yeah.
It only had a 5 1/4 floppy, single 5 1/4 floppy drive.
Was it the all-in-one?
No hard drive. No.
Was it the No.
It was a
two-piece.
It was a desktop unit with a huge monochrome monitor.
Yep.
It was like the size of my desk. Yeah, it was beautiful. Beautiful.
Yep.
It it required creativity, I think you would say, to use it. Of course, everything was DOS. There was no Windows or anything.
Oh yeah, and you were cool
So
if you had like a DOS menu loader that would come up that would give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so you could just go down and choose the program that you
yeah, I
wanted.
just used commands.
Yeah,
I
load
just
up
used commands. So
load up WinStar 2000 for your word processor, WordPerfect.
yeah, Word Perfect. Yeah, that was back then. There was another one. Can't remember what it was that I had that was cheaper or free, I think. So,
I love
of
it.
course, that was when everybody just handed each other discs,
Yep.
and licensing was different. There was no hard drive, but
Right.
then you could copy discs, and so you could just copy whatever you wanted to, which was not really good for the whole like software designers actually making money. But
Well, and everything got to shareware, and we would go to these little conferences, or the trade days, or you go out to
yep,
well, here around here it's Traders Village. On Saturdays, you go out to Traders Village, and then there would be a guy with a table, and he had cardboard boxes, and he had just rows of Ziplocs that had floppies in them, and it was you know some word processor or some accounting program or whatever. It was all shareware.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
we
hopefully
started
it
the
was
share
legal.
economy back then. All right, folks, we're
Yeah.
going to get started here in just a sec. If you are joining us, we've got a few viewers already, so y'all say hi if you have a question. We have, by the way, I'll incorporate this fully next week in next week's show, but I've put together a form that you guys can use to ask questions, and Curtis is going to be unavailable for next week's show, so I'll be doing a solo show, but when he gets back, the both of us will be able to have the form up so that we can see your questions as y'all are typing them, and we'll go through and answer them, during the pre-show or the post-show. So that's the method we'll be using for gathering questions. That way, your question won't get lost in the chat as we go and grow, and that also gives us a great way to kind of keep a list of things that you guys are wanting to learn about and need help with, so that we can develop content around the needs that y'all have, and that's the whole goal here. So we are going to get started. I'm going to stop the music. I know that was abrupt. I'm sorry about that. My apologies.
That was not smooth.
Yes, no, it's not. All right. So we are going to be talking about how you guys can get started with live streaming very easily, very quickly. It is a tremendous tool that, let's see, is that camera up and running? Yes. Awesome. Okay. And that camera. Let's just cycle through them real quick. Curtis, there's me. There's the left camera. I don't know if we'll use that one today. Hi. Okay. And let's see, there's our two up. Okay, cool. We're all set. So, hey, Jordan. Glad you're here, buddy. Hope your day is going swell. Good old Jordan. Jordan's up in Canada. What is it over on the East Coast? Whatever that colony is. I can't say the word. It's Canada. It's all different. Province, state, whatever. There's the ones where like Lake Victoria and all that pretty stuff is. He's over in that area.
Yeah. And Matt, I loaned my Banjitar out to my son, who's also a worship leader, because they were using it for a special set. So we have to settle for the epic, true vintage Gibson J45 in the background today. So
Let me see.
don't know what
There
to
it
do
is.
with that, but
There
it
you
was
go.
actually, yes, here she is.
Yes.
She's my baby.
Yes.
She's,
That's awesome.
We
I need to go
I
turn the biscuits off. So talk to the people for just a sec, okay? Well, I don't want them burning.
we don't want Dave to burn his biscuits. I don't really want to expound on that because I'm afraid of what would come out of it. So, but yes, this is my J45. It's my primary worship leading instrument. I do love to play the guitar, even though lately I get stuck on keyboard a lot to help out with some gaps we have. But yes, um, the Banjitar is with the 12 string acoustic actually, but my son borrowed both of them for his worship team to use to do a creative, kind of an eclectic, different feel kind of set. And so I haven't gotten them back yet. So he knows he can't keep them, but the 12 strings actually a Godin A12, which is a great instrument as well, which actually doesn't exist anymore because they moved it over to the Seagull line. But it's an extraordinary instrument. So I have lots of random instruments, just kind of whatever here and there. Just never know what's going to show up. But and my son has followed in my footsteps. He has some odd instruments. I even have a didgeridoo that I got when I was in Australia that I can almost kind of think about considering playing. But now the beeswax around the end has dried up, so I got to get some new beeswax because it's actually a real hollowed out piece of wood, hollowed out by termites, and it has real beeswax on it. So my beeswax dried up, so got to get more beeswax from somewhere that's not too sticky, so I can get the didgeridoo playable again. So I can play the one note that I can play with didgeridoo, and it's limited by my breath because I can't circular breathe like those guys do, but still have it. So yeah, all kinds of
You
random
can't circular
instruments.
breathe? What's the matter with you?
Yeah,
Come on.
it seems kind of unnatural, but
I know.
trumpet
Yeah.
players do it sometimes.
Yeah, they do. I bet Phil Driscoll could do it. Hey,
Yes, I bet.
so we've got a quick shout out, really quick. I don't know if he's in here today. Let's see, Jordan and Matt. They're the only ones that are saying anything. So, as far as I know, the other people that are watching are just bots, so they don't exist because they don't say hi. So, so to Matt and Jordan and the bots that are watching, um, Curtis and I've got a friend who is a young YouTuber who is just getting started. Cord Reeves is his name. He is a member of our worship team, member of our media team, tremendous young man. And he has started a YouTube channel. Curtis, if you haven't checked it out, he is blazing his own trail, as it were. Cord is learning all the media and production and stuff at the church that we do. Right now, he's focusing on live production, right? So front of house mixing, live stream mixing, things like that. And he and I were talking, and he said, "I want to start a YouTube channel." And he decided, let's take the people on the journey of learning how to do all of this while I'm doing it. So as he is learning things, he's sharing them with his audience. So he is very rapidly becoming a new resource for people, especially people that are just starting out with learning how to do live mixing. And everything from a very basic, simple mix to multiple voices, multiple instruments, mixing drums, using compression, using EQing, EQing individual voices, EQing individual voices on the fly sometimes. Just learning how to use all those tools in a live environment for both front of house, which is one set of skills and listening skills, and then also for the live stream, which is a completely unique type of a mix. So go check out Cord Reeves on YouTube. He is it's a new channel. If y'all would, as a favor to us, subscribe, because he needs to get over the 100 level mark, 100 subscriber mark, so that he can reserve the name for his channel and all that sort of stuff. So if you guys go help him out, go subscribe. Just look up Cord Reeves, Reeves, and subscribe. Watch some of his stuff. Share it with your friends. Share it with your neighbors. Share it with your kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's in right now too. He's with
He
us.
is? Are you there? Where are you? There
Yep.
he is.
Silver and blue.
Yes, he says he's not a bot. Okay, so Cord has now verified his existence as a real human. So that's huge. I mean, we'll probably have a party later for that one.
But isn't that what ChatGPT would tell you to hide itself?
Yes, exactly. So, Cord will probably need to verify that he's not ChatGPT. Anyway, speaking of which, Curtis and I are talking about doing a show about ChatGPT and AI and stuff like that, and how these tools are coming out, how we can use them to our advantage creatively, researchedly, and all sorts of other things. So be looking for that in the next few weeks. Got a couple of friends that are, really heads down in that space, especially as it relates to church leaders. So we're going to be reaching out to them to get them on the show and to talk about it and stuff. So there's some really cool stuff that we can do. And, just a side note, these tools that are coming out there, just like whether it's ChatGPT, Midjourney, same thing with TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and all this. These are tools that are out in the public that people are using for various and sundry things. It's not the tool, it's how you use it. So our job is to figure out how we can incorporate these tools, whether it's to increase our efficiency, spark our creativity, make things, kick up the just quality level, things like that. So don't be afraid of these tools. Jump in and play with them and see how they can be used to help you reach the goals that we have here, which is to leverage technology so that you can amplify the gospel so that lives can be changed.
Yep.
All right.
And it brings up there's a lot of ethical questions and things like that.
Sure.
So
yeah, it does.
Consider.
And there's things to consider, and we'll be able to address all that. So be looking for a show or two where we're talking about the AI tools and how we can be using them. Now, that's enough pre-show. Curtis has a hard out, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And let's see, Curtis, are you good with doing the hook and launching?
Sure.
Are you cocked and loaded? Can you slide over to your right just a hair? There you go. There you go.
Too far?
No, that's
just
good.
Far enough.
No,
there we
that's
go.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome sauce. Okay, folks. Ooh. Yeah. All right. Here we go. So I'm going to cut to the full screen, and whenever you are ready, get going.
Are you trying to get started streaming, but you don't know where to go? Are you want to upgrade where you are, or you feel like maybe you could do something better? Well, today here in Church Media Creators, in our talk here today, we're going to talk about what you can do to get started in different stages in that process, different modes of live streaming. I'm Curtis James, and I'm a church media creator just like you. I'm here with Dave Curley, who has been doing this for a while. Dave, you've got a little bit of experience doing this kind of thing, right?
A little bit. When it comes to the live streaming, I mean, I've been doing video for over 30 years now. I started in 1991, the week before college started, my freshman year. I was already doing a television show, a local news magazine. So I've been doing video for a long time. And then when the live streaming came into play, 2009 was when it was kind of starting in small bits, to 2010 when it really started to kick in, at 11 and beyond. The team I was with, the creative team, we used to do a show called Geek Beat TV, and then we did one called Geek Beat Live. And when we started doing Geek Beat Live, we were doing professional level live streaming from a very small room on a very small studio, and we were working with who were we using? We were working with Ustream and Justin TV. Those were two new companies at that time, and then we were also working with YouTube. They were beginning setting up their live streaming platform and had reached out to us. We had a sizable channel with them, and so they reached out to us, and so we were part of that beta program and started building and growing from there. And since then, I mean, I've live streamed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours between church live streams, conferences. Streamed for a week, several years in a row. At CES, we partnered with the National Association of Broadcasters, the NAB show, which happened a week or two ago. And we were their media partner, so we did their official live stream, all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, I've got a lot of experience doing broadcast and live. So, if you have any questions, just let me know.
Yeah, well, it's funny because, I mean, back when you were starting with YouTube, they really were interested in you guys because you were the only channel that wasn't cats. Everybody else was,
That's right.
was all cats.
That's right.
YouTube was like the cat channel.
It was.
All there was cats.
It was lol cats.
Now
everywhere.
we have cats and other things. It's still 50% cats. But anyway, so as Dave, as we look at this topic, this concept of navigating live streaming in our churches, we all face different limitations. We face different challenges, lots of different settings, different budgets, different equipment availability, all those kinds of things. So you've kind of talked about 4 different modes of live streaming that really gives everybody a place to belong in the conversation. And so why don't you talk to us a little bit about those 4 modes and about how churches can get involved with those things?
I'd be happy to do that. So one of the things that people ask when they are coming in here or when they're joining our Church Media Hacks group, Church Media Hacks, churchmediahacks.com, over on Facebook, one of the biggest things that I see is either how to make our live stream better or how to live stream, how to get started live streaming. And there's a lot of people that have that live streaming is this thing that is kind of out there. It's this wall. It's this thing that I want to do. I want to get to live streaming. I want to start live streaming. I want to live stream. And it's a nebulous concept in some ways, but it's an end that they want to get to. And they just don't know where to start or how to do it. So over the years, I've come up with 4 live streaming modes that people can use to get started. And the cool thing is that the very first live streaming mode, Curtis, is something that you can start right now. So when I say there's 4 modes of live streaming, we're going to teach you about them, and you can start live streaming and add live streaming to your ministry now, today. I mean it. Like, I fully expect that somebody after this live stream is going to go and turn off YouTube and do a live stream for their church, before lunch. That's my expectation, and that is, and it can be a part of your ministry like that. So let's start off, Curtis, with the lowest of low-hanging fruit. We call it selfie mode here. Selfie mode is just like it sounds. It is live streaming like you're doing a selfie, okay? Everybody knows what a selfie is, right? You take your phone and, hey, take a picture. Could you just take a thing? Okay, so you can use your phone. Okay, this is an old phone, by the way. This is like an old prop. It's an iPhone 6. It used to be something. You can use your phones to live stream. You can go live on your social platforms. Now, most people that are in church, on average, the average person on church is using Instagram and they're using Facebook. They watch YouTube as well, but if you just take a look at your congregation, a majority of them have a Facebook account and are probably interacting in one way or another, weekly, daily, on Facebook. And hopefully they're interacting with other members of your church and with your pastoral staff and all that. You can take advantage of that by live streaming to that group. Now, Curtis, when this type of live streaming is not necessarily the best use of this type of live streaming is not necessarily for like your Sunday service, right? This is something that you can do as an individual or as a team member or whatever during your service as a separate piece of content. But I suggest that if you're going to do that, instead of like trying to live stream from your phone during your service when there may already be a live stream going on for your service, that maybe you record some stuff with your phone, standing off to the side, shooting an alternate angle, doing stuff like that. You can do a selfie. Hey, I'm getting ready to go into the worship service. It's just now starting. Check this out. And you change the camera view and you show some of that stuff so that later in the week you've got a little piece of content that you can put out. But selfie mode is a great way to get started. You can go to your Facebook page. You can turn on live streaming. You can start a live stream. If you are in anybody, like say for your Facebook page, anybody that is an admin or a contributor or has the appropriate permissions on your staff, on your ministry team that has access to your Facebook page can go live on the Facebook page. And they can also go live in private groups, which, again, that's another way that you can add live streaming to to your ministry is in some of the private groups. Maybe the Sunday school leader, maybe a Bible study leader, maybe the men's leader, the women's leader can reach out to the smaller congregation, the smaller group, the women's Bible study group, and do a live stream randomly throughout the week, whether they're prepping for some event or whether they just are in their car in the parking lot and had a thought and they want to just go live for a few minutes on a Tuesday and wish everybody a good week and say hi to everybody and just make that connection. This type of live streaming is for that type of connection. It is to show behind the scenes. It is to engage with people at different times throughout the week. Curtis, our service is an hour, right, on Sunday, and then we've got
roughly.
Bible. Yeah, and we've got Bible study beforehand, and we've got rehearsal and stuff, and then we do something on Wednesday night. So we're doing 3 or 4 hours of being at church, as a staff, as a ministry team, doing our thing with people 4 hours a week, 5 hours. We still got like 162 hours a week that we can communicate with these people, and this is a great way to do it. So selfie mode, it is the lowest of low-hanging fruit. Everybody has a phone. Anybody can take advantage of this and add live streaming to their ministry like right now. So if you're watching this in the replay, pause it right now and do a live stream and then come back and continue watching, and we'll talk about the next one.
Right. Yeah, and I've found that, there's a couple of dynamics when you talk about just using your phone. So, like right now, I've got a camera up on a tripod here, but there's actually an attachment on the tripod, too, that I just throw my phone up there, so I don't have to set anything up. If I'm making an announcement about something going on in our church or something going on in our family ministry, maybe there's a new book that that I want to share with our people and talk about what a good tool it is or something like that. Instead of setting everything up and going live like that, sometimes it's better to just go live from your phone. There's a personal aspect to it. And like I said, I can put it on my tripod here, but I can also just hold it. I can walk around. If I'm promoting something that's involving some of our kids or students, I might be walking through our children's or youth area, a familiar site, someplace that they associate with it, saying, hey, this is where this is going to be, and so you can use those kinds of things. But there's also something to your favor, whether it's YouTube or especially on Facebook. When you go live from a mobile device, it doesn't treat it the same way. The algorithms don't treat it the same way. I know algorithms are the devil. The algorithms are algorithms is what they use. Facebook doesn't treat going live from my computer the same way as going live from a mobile device. And so you can get a little more exposure that way too. Maybe things show up higher on someone's list or something like that. The use of groups is a great way to put something on there. I went live a couple of weeks ago. I don't even remember why. I was just talking about some stuff we had coming up and some opportunities. I think it was about our family summit that we had actually. And I was just explaining to people, hey, this is what we've got going on. And people who are just sitting there, they get an alert on their phone, they jump in because they're like, wow, what's he doing? Now, if I went live every day, they wouldn't do that. But I go live for specific reasons in those kinds of ways. And so streaming with your phone, it is the simplest thing, but you're going to have really serious audio limitations to what you can do. And so a lot of churches at the beginning of COVID, their live stream was a phone sitting on a tripod on the front row. Mm-hmm. It sounded awful. You had a hard time hearing things. If you had multiple instruments, multiple voices, it all just kind of melds into a big mess of blah. And so you want to really, do consider, how are we using this? Are we using it to the equipment's benefit, to where the equipment's actually capable of what we're doing, instead of using it beyond it? Because you'll lose your viewers really fast if you're trying to do too much with your phone.
Yeah, that's why I use the selfie mode. And one of the things that we say is we're going to show you the 4 modes of live streaming, and the chances are you're going to be using 2 or 3 of them kind of on a regular basis, right? And that's what we encourage to do. This type of live streaming using selfie mode is best served for just generating engagement. One of the statistics I read was that live video captures people's attention 10 to 20 times more than pre-recorded video or on-demand video, as we call it, VOD, video on demand. So what that means is that us going live on Facebook or us going live on YouTube, and people getting a notification that says, Church Media Creators is live, or Curtis James is live, or Dave Curley started a live stream. Those things like that will catch people's attention. Oh, Curtis is live. I'm going to go watch that, versus a notification that says Church Media Creators just released a video and here's the title of it. That's because it's live. There's a sense of urgency, okay, implied, because live means they will not be live later. So if someone's live, people want to jump into it. So let's use that to our ability. Let's use that to our advantage, not just with selfie mode, but with streaming the entire service or streaming a Bible study or whatever. That same type of thing happens. The cool thing is we can do it a lot more often when we're using selfie mode. Now, you were talking about the quality. You were talking about how things, the jumbled audio and things like that. All of that is fine. And we want to tell you that if you are beginning live streaming and the only thing you have is your phone and you want to live stream your service, do it. Get started. That is a hurdle. There's a mental hurdle that people have that they try to get everything just right and just perfect before they start, and that ends up leading to procrastination. I've said that not procrastination, that perfection, the pursuit of perfection, is the enemy of accomplishment. So get started. Those people that were starting, what we saw during the pandemic time was that the people that were starting using their phone, they were within a couple of weeks reaching out to us saying, how do we make this sound better? But the thing is, they jumped over that hurdle, they got started. And once you get started, all you need to do is keep going and iterate. So let's talk about, Curtis, the next level, the next mode of live streaming, which I call indie mode, as an independent filmmaker. That's the only name I could come up with that kind of differentiated between selfie mode and this next level. Indie mode is where you start treating your phone like a proper camera. Instead of it being a phone that you're holding and you're all janky with it and you're doing this and you're pinching and zooming and doing all this awkward stuff, you're going to treat it more like a proper camera. Like, there it is, like this one here, where I've got a lens, I've got accessories that I want to use. I want to use it to get a better quality image. The best way to do that is to use a rig of some kind of stabilization device. Now, you can use a gimbal, which is like a little stick that's going to have a clamp in it, and then there's going to be servos and motors that keep your phone steady while you're moving around and doing stuff. It's not all shaky and things like that. That's one way to do it. The other way is to use a tripod. Curtis, you talked about having a clip that you use that sits on your tripod. You could run to the dollar store and get a $2 selfie stick that has the little clip on the end. Unscrew that clip, stick it on a tripod, plop your phone in there, and now your phone is nice and steady. And you can use a big tripod, a little tripod, what have you. A lot of people will use, like, I wish I had one. Yeah, I don't have it like right within my grasp. These little tabletop tripods. It's about 6 inches, and the feet go out, and you can. There you go. You got it. You got one with your mic. There you go.
Yeah, my mic's sitting on one right now. This is a little mini GorillaPod.
Yep.
I have another GorillaPod hanging around my tripod because it's just so versatile. I can use it anywhere. Just clamp it onto anything. I can use it with a camera. I can use it with my phone. I mean, I think one of them, it even came with a clamp for your phone on it, and so I use it. I'm using it for a microphone right now. So you can hang it on a tree. I've wrapped it around the handlebars of a four-wheeler before.
Yep.
You got all kinds of options when you use something like that, and it means you can put stuff anywhere you want to. Like, I can put my microphone on my tripod with a GorillaPod, or something like that, or some sort of moldable tripod. So very versatile, easy to use. Definitely keeps you on the move, but frees your hands up so that you can talk with them, and so that you're not doing this all the time.
That's exactly right. Now you can kick it up another notch by going. I'm going to cut to my full screen by using something like this. This is a camera rig. The thing I like about this is that I have two handles. What that gives me is the ability to better control my computer, or not computer, my phone, right? And it's dusty. It's got a clamp built onto it, so I'm going to slap my phone into it really quick. Okay, I do not have any of my wires hooked up, but my phone is in here, so now I can treat my camera on my phone more like a proper camera. Now, this one has shoe mounts up on top, which allow me to slide in accessories. So I've got a light on here, I've got a microphone on here. I've now increased the ability to have higher production value. Okay, I've having a wider footprint that you're holding on stabilizes your camera a whole lot better. And if you have to walk around and shoot someone, like if you're shooting an announcement video and you're walking in the hallway, you can hold your arms in against your body and hold the mount, the rig right here in front of you and have a much more stable image. Okay, this is really cool. And when you're using like a little mini shotgun mic, or if you're using like a little wireless lapel mic, this one plugs into this is not for the iPhone. They have one available. It comes with a receiver for the iPhone and for the like USB-C, which is what this one is. So I plug this into the bottom of my phone and then clip this on, and now my sound is coming from this little lapel mic. The quality is 10 times better than the microphone that's built onto the camera or into the camera that is, say, 6 feet away from me. Okay, if I'm standing in front of it, I'm getting a much better quality. If I'm using a shotgun mic, like that little mini mic, Rode makes those. They're fantastic. They cost about $50 or $60. You plug it into your phone either through an adapter, or thankfully my Samsung still has a microphone port, so I can just plug it right in, and it's great. You get great quality. They even make some that have microphones on both ends. So you got the shotgun mic for catching the person that's in front of you, and then if you're going to be talking to them, or if you're walking around and you're, say, narrating as you're just, hey, we're getting ready to start the worship rehearsal, and so here's what's going on. Look, there's Jason, there's this, and you're talking from behind the camera. Well, the microphone is pointed at you as well. Really cool. But that is Indie Mode, and the cool thing about Indie Mode is you can use it for a whole lot of stuff. A rig like this allows me to not only do some live streaming from, just right, wherever I am, that in the moment kind of live streaming, the behind the scenes, walking into the pastor's office going, hey man, what are we working on this week? What are you doing? Oh, I'm talking about this, and I'm going to be doing this, and let me show you the scripture that I just found. The stuff. Curtis, working with the family ministry, the children's ministry, decorating for VBS, doing stuff like that, being able to walk in and get good footage while you're live streaming. Now, on top of that, when you have a rig like this, you've also got a much higher quality camera. You've got a much higher quality microphone and lighting, and now you could, say, start doing announcement videos. So you put it on a tripod, and you've got this rig. You've got something that will give you quality if you set it up right, and like, say, use the manual settings on your camera instead of the automatic settings. You can end up getting better picture quality that comes closer to something like this. And you've added a few accessories. You've spent $100 or whatever on accessories, as opposed to going and spending $600 or $700 or $800 on a mirrorless camera and a lens, right? So it gives you the ability to do more with what you have. Okay, so you can live stream with the rig, you can shoot with the rig. You're now able to like really kick up your game, and it's not that expensive. You can even live stream your service with a rig like this, because you can get adapters, and some phones, like a phone that uses a USB-C, and I think you can do it with the iPhones as well. You could actually plug in like an external mixer, and you could mix some of your audio a little bit better. You could have a microphone, a lapel mic, say, on your pastor, and then a shotgun mic that's just shooting the band and stuff, and do a little mixing and get a little bit better quality. And again, you may have half of this equipment just sort of lying around. If you can apply it to this, you've kicked up the level of your streaming.
Yeah, and one thing to consider, and I know I'm kind of taking one step outside of the stream here, because when we're talking about our services, we want to stream them, but we're also posting them to our websites and doing different things like that, or even doing an interview during the week or something like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be live
Right.
to use this kind of gear.
Right.
But one of the things you can do to kind of clean some stuff up is you can put an audio recorder of some sort close to your subject, even if it's like a second phone or an iPad or something like that. So say you're recording someone who's talking in a fellowship hall, and the fellowship hall isn't set up for streaming or recording or anything like that, and you know you're going to be kind of far back, and you're going to be kind of getting some decent shots. But if you record the audio with something that's sitting up on the platform, up on the podium, say there's a little audio recorder or a phone or an iPad or something like that that you can record to, you can still record in your room with the mic that you're using, but what it does is it gives you a much better audio source that you can go sync in post-production, and so really bring the level up from a speaker when you're far away from them. And maybe you don't have that Bluetooth, lapel or something like that. It's a special event. It's a one-time thing. So that's one way to capture better audio, and still, be able to have some flexibility of moving around instead of sitting on the front row trying to shoot this and make it look halfway decent. So you can get good sound by placing an audio recorder of some sort close to the person, even if you're not.
So this is something that you would need to like edit after the fact, right? Is what you're talking about. So
that'd be post-production.
We're capturing video and audio from the camera in the back of the room, but then we're capturing closer, cleaner audio up front. So that's something that you could take into something like a free video editor. If you're using Adobe Premiere, or if you're using Final Cut or something, or iMovie even, you can take those two pieces, put them together, and turn out a much higher quality sounding and looking piece of content. Now,
or if you're using Windows Movie Maker, it's time to upgrade your computer.
That's right.
Just saying.
That's right. And yes, we are going to be doing a little bit of a roundup of editing software, some free options and things like that. You could also do all of this on your phone. Just FYI, we were talking about our friend Cord's channel, Cord Reeves. A lot of the video that he does, he shoots it all using his phone, and then sometimes he does all the editing on his phone. Sometimes he does most of the editing on his phone, but then does a little bit on his computer and stuff. When we talk about the usefulness of your phone, you've got a very powerful little computer right there that can do everything if you know what you're doing and if you plan for it. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to go and do heavy budget work to start adding some of these services and streams and stuff to your ministry. Now, the next level or mode of live streaming, if you want to kick up the quality and be a little bit more deliberate, each one of these stages of live streaming is in order of deliberateness or intention, order of intention greater from the other. So you go from selfie mode. Now you want to get a little more serious and get better quality and stuff. So you move up to indie mode. You add some accessories. Now it's like, okay, we want to do our live stream and we want to make it start looking much more professional. So you can move up to desktop mode. And desktop mode is really cool. This is where our church was when I took over. We were kind of at desktop mode, and I increased our desktop mode to increase our quality. Desktop mode is where you start adding a computer. Okay, so in my case, I had a MacBook Pro, so the computer, we were using an old iMac, and we had a video camera going into some janky video capture device that was like 5, 6, 7 years old. I mean, we were using the yellow cable and the red and white audio cables going into this thing. It was old school. And so what I did was I got my laptop, brought that up there, and I had a capture device. I use it on the other rig over here. This was before the Cam Link, but I had a little Blackmagic mini recorder. It's a nice little box, cost me about $100, and I was able to plug a video camera into that using HDMI, and then take that right into my computer, and my computer saw it as a webcam. So the cool thing is that I could go and grab a free piece of software for streaming, for recording, called OBS. It stands for Open Broadcaster Service System Service Software, Open Broadcast Software, and it's free. You can go to obsproject.com and download a copy of it for your platform, and you have scenes that you can set up in there. So it's really cool. So what I did, we had one camera. So what I did was I set up my capture device, and I brought that into OBS, and then I would get like make a couple of titles for like the pastor or the worship pastor, and I put them in there. And then when we were streaming and the pastor came up, I was able to hit the little button, and the pastor's name faded on, and then it faded off. And then with the worship pastor, it faded on, faded off. With OBS, I was able to start incorporating scripture into it, because OBS is running on your laptop. I was able to get a feed coming from our ProPresenter computer. ProPresenter at that time had a way to send out a screen worth of information, so like the lyrics to the songs. I was able to bring that in. So now I had two cameras, right? I had the camera, and then I had another view. That other view was the lyrics on the screen. Then I was able to incorporate the scripture. So I put the Olive Tree Bible software on my computer, and I was able to do a window capture. And now when the pastor went to start reading the word, I would cut to the Bible on there, and I had my finger on my little trackpad, and I would just two fingers just slowly scrolling, and the words are going up as he's reading them and stuff. What I was doing was trying to produce a more professional looking product. I now had 3 different options that I could show a viewer at any given time as warranted, showing the viewer what they need to see and when they need to see it. So I was able to increase the visual interest on the screen, hold their attention, and feed them the information visually and audioly, orally. That doesn't even sound right now. I think I've said that too much. Orally, audioly, soundly, and they were able to be less distracted and get the message out. So desktop mode, again, you're going to be adding a little bit more investment, but the cool thing is that you probably already have a laptop sitting around that you can do it with, right? Or an older desktop computer. You can get started with lower end equipment. You may not be streaming 1080, you're definitely not going to be streaming 4K, but you can be streaming 720, right? And you've gone now from indie mode to selfie mode, or excuse me, selfie mode to indie mode, and now desktop mode. The quality is getting better, and you're going to start hearing people saying, wow, our stream sure does look a whole lot better than it used to. Thank you. Yes. So desktop mode is cool. That's where you start cobbling things together, and you can do it piecemeal. You can start with a webcam. My second camera, Curtis, besides the one that was the good video camera, was a Logitech C920 webcam sitting on a tripod on the lip of the balcony and shooting down, and that was my wide shot. So when the service started, I would have that wide shot, and then I would fade to the close-up of the worship minister and stuff. And I can't tell you, we did that for a year and a half, I think, maybe 2 years, and people were loving. They thought the quality was looking great, and it was a minor investment, but the impact that it had was great.
Well, in today's world, your laptop is a studio.
Yes.
It really is capable of everything a studio can do. It's it's not the same as what you're going to talk about next in that 4th stage, but you can do so many things with a laptop and a good webcam, a decent microphone, or a line coming in from your board or whatever, little pieces, and it's almost it's almost like this stage between this and stage four, which is the studio setup.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming pretty hard to delineate between them because it's like how many pieces of equipment do we add to the laptop before it becomes a studio,
Right.
is really, I think, the question you ask, because really, you've got a computer that's running software that's interacting with all of the hardware out there.
Mm-hmm.
So we add enough hardware and it becomes a studio, yet we're really still running through a lot of the same things. And so what's good about this is that the upgrade process between stage three and stage four is really upgrading instead of, okay, now we're going to shift, because the shift between stage one and two is adding a few pieces of equipment. The shift between two and three is changing the way we're doing it. The shift between three and four is adding more equipment and developing, something that's using multiple computers and multiple stages. But it means that you can add pieces a little bit at a time.
Yep.
And expand into that fourth mode of live streaming. And so, Dave, why don't you tell us about that fourth mode?
So that fourth mode is what I call broadcast mode. So what that is more intentional. That's the way I look at it, right? So when you do the shift from solely using indie mode into desktop mode, you're making an intentional decision, but you're still you're still just basically using the resources you have, maybe adding a piece here, adding a piece there, and just trying to maximize what you have as best you can to increase your quality and your production value. This one is something that's even more intentional. You start making the decision, okay, we've added, I've added 2 cam links now. So I had 1 cam link, and then I had an extra USB port. So I added another cam link. Now I have 2 cameras plus the webcam. So now I've got alternate angles, and I've still got my wide shot. But I'm starting to push the boundaries. I want to do more. I want to add more cameras. I want to kick up the level. So I'm going to move to broadcast mode. Broadcast mode is where maybe we set aside the laptop and we go and buy a $2,000 gaming computer, or a $1,600. The one that we use at the thing, we were able to get a kick-in machine for about $1,600, which was really good, and that included a what do you call it? An NVIDIA graphics card, like a 3060, 3080, 2080, something like that. Anyway, it has enough GPU that we can have multiple cameras coming in, multiple virtual inputs coming in, and if you've watched our stream, I hope that you see our production level is much, much, much higher than it was, say, in 2015. So what that entails is maybe building a machine, right, or buying a dedicated piece of hardware. And you can go several different ways with this, and you can mix and match different things. Sorry about that. You can mix and match different things. What's cool is that if you have like a really good gaming spec'd out computer, that means that it's meant to handle video and 3D rendering and virtual work, right? So you can plug that in and then either use OBS, which is fine. It's not elegant. I always tell people OBS is ridiculously capable, extremely capable. There's nothing you can't do with it. However, it's not elegant. Okay, it is the visual metaphor is not what usually looks like. The software called vMix, which is what we're using here, is much more elegant, much more visually appealing. I can't show you right now, but like looking at my screen here, I see all of my inputs going on there. I see my camera. I see an alternate camera. I see a third camera. I see Curtis's camera. I see the 2-shot that we're using right now. I see the 3-shot that we used before the show with the chat window. I see all these things, and it's just a matter of choosing the one that I want at the right time. Now, that also gives you the ability to bring in other sources. Everything that's coming from your ProPresenter computer can come into there. Everything that is happening maybe in other rooms using remote cameras can be coming into there. It's fantastic. The next step with that, if you want, is buying a dedicated computer itself, like say a complete broadcast system, like a TriCaster, which I use TriCasters. We used a TriCaster for a long time. We decided that instead of upgrading the TriCaster, we would go ahead and build out a system. But the TriCaster is a dedicated piece of hardware to do that. You can also buy all the Black Magic stuff. So you can get an ATEM switcher, you can get routers, you can get stuff, and you can kick it up, and you can have a television studio right there in your control room. It's really cool. We're talking more money. We're also talking a little bit steeper learning curve. All of it is within reach, though, and you're kicking up the quality. The entire reason that we're doing all of this, though, folks, is so that we can do what? Reach the goals that we have here, right? Which is to leverage technology so that we can amplify the gospel so that the gospel will change people's lives. That's what we're trying to do here at each one of these stages. So when I said that you can use multiple of these at the same time, it's not going to be a one or the other. Once you start using selfie mode, never stop, right? It's great. If you have a limited budget and can't go buy 5 video cameras for stuff, you've got a phone, add some accessories to it, you've now got another video camera. Move up to desktop mode, move up to broadcast mode, you can reach all those goals. Final thoughts, Curtis?
And it's key to use what you have and look for how can you improve on what you have. Always consider, how many volunteers do you have? What's your base of workers? Because you can expand yourself beyond your own capabilities, and then your quality won't be better just because you have better equipment. So always about being good stewards of what we're doing, making sure we're getting the word out there, that we're letting people hear the truth of what God can do in their life, and we're using whatever tool we can to do that. That's the important thing. We want to make sure whatever mode works for you, that you're using it, and if there's a new thing to do, that you can engage that in a responsible way to help your church reach people out there in the world. That's our goal, to amplify the gospel so that it changes lives out there. And that's what we want to encourage you to do, to use what you have and take it and impact lives. That's what we want to see you do, and we want you to continue to work on that day in and day out. If we can help, just let us know. Thanks for joining us today, guys.
Booyah, that's a show. Guys, Curtis has got to go. I'm going to stick around for a few minutes and visit. Thank you, Curtis. I will talk to you later.
Cool, guys. Take care.
All right, guys, we got a few minutes. Let me put the music back on. There we go. The music courtesy of Creator Mix. This is running through, what is it? Amazon. Amazon Music. But go to Creator Mix. There's great stuff over there. Those are our friends Dee and Nick Nimmin that are creating all of that, and it's for the creator community, for us to use on live streams, to use in our videos. It's for you guys to use in your videos and stuff at church. It's all royalty free. They're not claiming it, and like monetizing off of it or anything like that. This is them giving back to the community, and so take advantage of it. It's great. It's all instrumental. There's a bunch of different styles on there. Using this, like say for some of it that's not like crazy, you can use it for your pre-music during your 10-minute countdown or something, and not have to worry about YouTube or Facebook doing a strike or muting the audio or anything like that. I'm going to check and see if anybody has any questions here. There's been a lot of conversation going on. Let me see. I don't have I need to set a 2-box that gives me the stream on here. Right now, we're going to have this. We're going to be looking over this janky blank spot right here where Curtis used to be. But let me see what we got here. Let's see here. Ray B says that they started live on Facebook with a phone before advancing to 2 cameras on a computer. Yeah, so you went from using the phone, you went up to, say, desktop mode, and just keep refining that. That's one of the things that people see a lot is once they start live streaming, once they start doing the get over the hurdle of beginning, right? So once they have started, then they start seeing where the weak spots are and start looking for creative ways to overcome those weak spots, which is something that we talk about here a whole lot. So Ray, I'm glad you did. Ray, how long have you guys been live streaming? Was it the pandemic that kicked you guys into overdrive, or was it something that you were doing back in 2013? Let's see. Silver and Blue Star, which is Cord, by the way. Go look up Cord Reeves on YouTube and subscribe to his channel. Let's see. He says he said that our church, which is us, is considering moving to a roaming camera. Yeah, that's one of the things that we want to do is add a roaming camera as a part of our live stream. So having a person with a camera that is untethered during the live stream gives you some flexibility for various things. Like if you're having a if you're having like an extended worship period, maybe being able to get a shot of the audience, not like just over their heads, but actually be down on the floor with them and kind of pan the audience where you see faces, you see people raising their hands. That has a more a greater visual impact on people watching it, or watching it especially later, not necessarily just in the moment. You can also be up on stage. You can actually like walk over to the guitar player and get the guitar player doing that piece that he's doing in the middle of some of the special music or something like that, or to go over to the drum cage, or to stand behind the worship team and shoot over their shoulders into the audience, and get a unique view, which is really cool. And you can do it using I was going to say remote, using wireless HDMI, which is really cool. Hollyland makes a transmitter and a receiver, and I've used it before. I'm going to see if I can get one in, like to do some testing and reviewing on, but I've used it at different events, and it's awesome. The last time I used it, there was like no lag, maybe a frame, but there was no lip sync issues. There was none of that. It was awesome. We had wired cameras all going into a Blackmagic switcher. We had that one transmitting from across the room in an audience, walking around, looking at people, getting people, following them around the room, doing stuff like that. And it was awesome. So it adds another piece of visual interest for your stream. And remember, we talk about what our goal is to give the viewer what they need to see when they need to see it, right? So the more that we can change up a shot, the more things that we can have happening on the screen, changing on the screen, will cause them to continue to stay engaged on the screen, especially when you're doing, say, something that's talking head, a Platonic oration, the pastor speaking, right? That's going to get boring. So you want to change up the shots. You want to change up the angles. You want to have scripture come onto the screen. You want to have scripture go off. You want to have the sermon slides show up. Point number one, point number two. When he does an illustration, if he's got a picture from a book or something, you want to have that up there. You want to be changing these things on a regular basis, which will cause the viewer to have these visual reset moments, because when the pastor is just up there talking, it's just a talking head like I'm doing right now. I'm not changing anything. You're probably starting to be like glassy-eyed and be thinking, okay, just whatever, I'm going to go take a nap, but then when I change to a different angle, different view or something, it's like, what just happened? Something happened on the screen. Okay, I'm refocused. So the more you can add to that, where you're not causing a distraction, right? You're not doing it just for the sake of doing it, but you're doing it to increase the visual interest and increase the person's focus on what's going on the screen, you're going to win. Let's see here. So Cord said, we were talking about how Cord does his editing. He said he uses Premiere Rush, and it works great, but he needs to upgrade. Okay, well, you know who to talk to. Let's see. Yeah, audibly. Thank you. Audibly was the word. So orally is a word. Audio-wise, so audibly. Thank you for. Wish you'd have been here and you just could have like whispered or put a sticky note in front of me audibly. Let's see. So Cord did ask a question. Can you use OBS for non-live, like just recordings, shooting, various things, reaction videos, things like that? Absolutely, you can. In fact, I'm trying to think. Can I show you? I don't think I can show you. Maybe I can show you. Let me switch to the other camera, and I can take my earbuds out. Yay! Have those monitors in. I'm gonna have to get better little, what do you call it? Rubber gasket thingies. Let's see, is this gonna work? Let me see. Is it? For some reason, it's not. Hang on. Yeah, it's not doing the tracking yet. So I'm gonna jump over to the little control app, and lock it. Okay, now it's going to follow me. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to like move over here just a little bit. There we go. There we go. There we go. Come on over. There we are. Okay, so chair's in the way. Over here, this desk. This is where I'm doing reviews. Last week or week ago, whatever it was. I showed you how I had this this overhead camera set up. That camera that I was showing you is usually sitting here on a rig right over here with a teleprompter and stuff for me to do like regular video on demand videos. But it's all going into a Mac Mini right here, and I use OBS on this computer right here to do the recording. So I'm doing live to tape basically, and I can switch. I've got a small Stream Deck, and I can switch between the overhead shot and the camera shot. So I'm not streaming from here. What I'm doing is I'm using OBS to do the recording, right? So OBS is my recording deck, or instead of recording on the camera and then recording audio on an audio mixer and then syncing all those things together. I've just optimized OBS to do the recording, and so when I'm done, I have everything that I need, and then I take it over here to this machine that I'm on and do the editing. So OBS is really cool. You can live stream, and same thing with vMix, same thing with a TriCaster, right? So any of the anything that you would be using for live streaming, you can also just record, and in this case, I am recording and live streaming. So I'm live streaming this, so this is going to stay up in our live section on the YouTube channel. The recording I'm going to take and I'm going to trim up, and I'm going to remove as many of the uhs and the filler words and things like that, get those things all cut out so that it's trimmed up a little bit. I'll do the intro, the coming up, and a thought from Curtis and a thought from me and all that sort of stuff for the official YouTube video of this topic, right? So we got the live that you can watch on replay if you want, or you can watch the actual dedicated produced piece, which will be in perpetuity video on demand. By the way, I'm just curious, have you guys seen the last few ones that I've done? The way I'm doing the intro with coming up, and then the a couple of interesting thoughts before that, and then the really super fast intro where it just church media creators, and then we get into it and stuff. I'm just wondering some feedback on that. If you're liking the music, I kind of like the music. I want something that is going to have some energy to it, and little unique sounding than other people's things. I know I decided a long time ago that that just because my target audience here is the church community, the worship community stuff, doesn't mean that I'm going to compromise on production quality and production values on music and stuff like that. So a church focused thing, having dubstep music, or something like, I don't even know what's playing right now. Cruisers. How does that sound? Let me listen. Something that is a little. I don't want y'all to hear it. Yeah, a piece of music that is not worship music or anything like that. I just wanted to. I don't want to fall into the trap of being churchy, whatever that means, right? Kind of like with movies, Christian movies. I don't want to make Christian movies. I don't want to make Christian TV shows. I don't want to make Christian YouTube videos. I don't want to make Christian talk shows or anything like that. I want to make movies. I want to make documentaries. I want to make television shows. I want to make YouTube videos. I want to do live streams. And through that, if I have kingdom-minded content in there, great, right? But I don't want to do a Christian movie. I don't want to. One of the things that I've always bristled at is when you make a Christian movie. How do you say this without sounding sounding like a I don't know, sounding like a jerk. I don't want to sound like a jerk. The message, the focus is on the message, not the movie, right? We have to remember what we sit down and watch movies for. We sit down to watch movies to be entertained. We like storytelling. We want to be told a story, right? We go to church to hear a word from God, okay? So when I go and sit down at church, I'm expecting to hear things that are the Spirit's going to convict me. Okay, I want to worship. I want to learn. I'm focusing on applying teachings from Paul into my daily life or into my family life or what have you. When I go and watch a movie, I want to be told a story, and I want it to be a great story. I want it to hold my attention. I want to have, I want it to look like other stories that are out there, right? So there's a difference between making a Christian movie and then making a movie and telling a great story that also has Christian values, points to Christ, has a conversion experience for the person in the movie, you know, the hero of the story, as they, you know, are facing their insurmountable odds and all that, and finally break down and reach out to God, and then let God take control of their life, and then how they're able to navigate the rest of the story with the power and influence of the Holy Spirit. That's a great story, right? It's the difference between, you know, like if you take a look at The Chosen, Dallas wanted to tell the story of Jesus's life through the eyes of the people that were around him, right? Which is why, like the feeding of the 5,000, you see him doing it, you know, but that's not the main focus. It's not like we're sitting there for 20 minutes watching the experience of feeding the 5,000. No, there's other stuff going on. You know, there's the things that are surrounding it, which is where the gripping storytelling comes in, right? And that's where you get the tension, and that's where you have the problem that needs to be overcome, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's great storytelling that happens to be following the life of our Savior, as told through the eyes of his disciples and the people that were around him. So great TV with a fantastic message versus a Christian message that we're putting on TV. Last thing you want to do is watch some sort of a, you know, great thriller, and then all of a sudden stop and have an altar call in the middle of it, right at the climax and all that, and then 15 minutes later you move on with the rest of the story. That's not good entertainment. And when we sit down to watch movies, we sit down to be entertained. We have to keep these things in. Why did I go off on this rant? I don't know why I went. Oh, it was because I'm using like non-traditional music and stuff for our live stream and for our videos and stuff, because that's higher quality. That's higher quality production thing that evokes, you know, different feel, different emotion. So let me know if you like it. Somebody messaged me. It's probably like Chris or something saying, okay, you've rambled long enough. Let me see. So Jordan, you can ask this. It wasn't Chris, it was Jordan. What camera are you using that is auto tracking? Jordan, I'm going to kick you if you didn't ask this in the chat. The camera that is auto tracking is, and the chat's like way over here. I'm sorry, guys. The camera that's auto tracking is the OBS bot, OBS bot. I don't know how they say it. It is. Can I show it? No. Well, maybe. Hang on. Yeah. One second. All right, I'm going to cut to the other camera. Boom. Okay. So here we are. So that's this, the OBS bot, OBS bot. It is a webcam. It's a pan tilt zoom cam. It uses some AI stuff in it. Put it back. It uses AI face tracking and stuff, autofocus, all that. It's really cool. I can cut to it. There we are. It's a neat. They've done a really great job with this little piece of equipment here. It's very small. It's say the size of like 2 webcams, and it can fit on a tripod. It's got a tripod mount on it. It's got a USB, so it goes into a USB 2 or a USB 3. It's 4K, which is awesome. It gives a great image. I mean, y'all like this image? I'm using this image, for broadcast, right? They even have, which is really cool. Let me swap back over. They even have a converter. I have got to get a different mic arm. This one's driving me crazy. This is a mic arm that I've had since we were doing Geek Beat. Man, it's old. Anyway, close parentheses on that. The OBS bot, they even have a little adapter that will take the USB video signal and convert it to an HDMI video signal. So you can plug it into a traditional switcher. Like I could add it as camera 4 on my my ATEM, right? I haven't gotten that yet. I'm going to. It's really cool. So it's a great little piece of equipment here. I'm going to do a full review on it very soon. They were gracious enough to send it to me, and I've been using it, and I really, really, really like it. Really like it. It's awesome. I mean, you saw I went over to that area right over there to the other set, right? Let's see. And it follows. I don't have to do it myself. It's brilliant. My car warranty is fine. Thank you. I'm going to cancel that phone call. So anyway, it's great. I love the OBS bot, however they say it, if they're watching. How do you say it, guys? All right. I'm going to sift through the questions here real quick, and if there's nothing else, then I'm going to let y'all go. Facing the Giants, let's see. Yes, thank you, Christopher, for the link in there. So Christopher said a great Christian movie, without even realizing it, is The Lord of the Rings and The Chronicles of Narnia. Exactly. Good storytelling, right? You want to know one of the best Christian movies that I've seen in a long time? I say Christian in quotes. One of the best Christian movies out there is The Book of Eli, right? It's like the best rated R Christian movie out there. If you've not seen the book, I think it's been out for a long time. Denzel Washington movie. Denzel Washington, Mila Kunis, and the incomparable. For the love of Pete, Gary Oldman. Thank you, Gary Oldman, the incomparable Gary Oldman. He is that dude can play any role, anytime. I could watch Gary Oldman just read from the Yellow Pages. Fantastic. Anyway, great story. It's post-apocalyptic. The Book of Eli. Eli's got a book that he's got to get, across the country, and he's doing it on foot in a post-apocalyptic world. And these are the challenges that he faces, reaching that the end of that quest. Right? Fantastic. If you've not seen it, grab it and watch it. You are absolutely gonna love it. It's rough. I mean, you're dealing with warlords and you're dealing with desperate people doing desperate things. Which there's the reason that it's rated R. It's because it's got some post-apocalyptic violence. But the message in there is awesome, and you don't even really know what the message is until later, which is really cool. So they told a great story that ends up having a great message, right? And Denzel Washington's a Christian. He made sure that message was part of it. Really cool. And it's such a cool movie that you actually get to watch it twice. You get to watch it the first time, and then you get to watch it again for the first time once he finishes his quest. And so it's really cool. Watch it and you'll see what I mean. So let's see. Jordan wants an OBS bot. Yes, I agree. Jesus Revolution is real. Yes. See, and that's Jesus Revolution is a great example of doing that, of telling a great story that happens to be also riddled with the gospel message. I was just watching an interview with Greg Laurie, and he was talking. It was on Ruslan's channel, and he was talking about how he was approached. People say, hey, Greg, why'd you make a movie about yourself? Blah blah blah. Instead of just giving him the benefit of the doubt, right? Everybody's always looking for reasons to complain about stuff. If you're looking for reasons to complain about stuff, you've got a very boring and small life. You should maybe start trying to, see how you can, be of value to the kingdom. try doing that. That would be awesome, instead of tearing other people down for doing the things that they're supposed to be doing for the kingdom. Okay, anyway, I won't rant on that anymore. But he said, he was approached by the writers. They wanted to tell the story. They'd found the cover of a Time magazine back in 69, 70, whenever it came out, with a psychedelic Jesus on the front of it. It was, asking, is this a Jesus revolution? What's going on? It was a story that went into the Jesus revolution and the hippies and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, and they had said, hey, weren't you there? Were you during that? And he said, yeah, I lived that. I was there with Chuck Smith and with that revival that broke out, and with Lonnie Frisbee and stuff. And so they wanted to hear his story and his input with all of that. And then they started telling the story. And I think he said there's actually 4 stories on there. It's Chuck Smith's story, it's Lonnie Frisbee's story, and it's also Greg and his wife, and the story of the Jesus movement, and how he became a part of that, and then how Harvest, started coming out of that thing. And so you get to see his salvation experience. You get to see a lot of people's salvation experience. The net of this movie is it's doubled, and maybe I haven't checked the numbers, but it's far surpassed what the box office was projected to be, which is really cool. And there are stories of people in the movie theaters that when it's over, people come out and start asking questions, and then other people who are in there are leading them to Christ. I mean, that's really cool. So anyway, I guess that's the end of the discussion on Christian content and stuff. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed hanging out with y'all. I love doing this. Next week, I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do, because Curtis is not going to be here, and there's so many topics that I want to discuss with Curtis, because his perspective and input is so great. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I may do a Q&A. So let me see. I'm going to, if you don't mind, I'm going to find the. I'm trying to think if I put it in the description for everything or not. I'm going to put in our description here. I'm going to update it with the link to the questionnaire, the little question form. With me while I find this. I think I've got time for 1 or 2 more questions. So if you want to ask those really quick, I will answer them before we go. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm sifting through Google Drive folders. And here we go. Q&A. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to shorten the URL, copy it. I'm going to paste it in the chat, and then I'm also going to paste it in the If you'd like to have your question answered, please use this form. And let me put it in here as well. Here's the form, guys. So grab that, make a shortcut to it, stick it in your, on your desktop, whatever. Save it so that if you have questions, you can plug it in there, and we're just going to kind of keep a running tally of questions. We want to do Q&A episodes on a regular basis, like every month or so. Do nothing but just a Q&A show. Just what are y'all going through? Let's answer some questions, right? And this also gives us idea and direction on the larger topics that you guys need help with and that you're interested in, so that we're able to do some purpose-built content just for that. Maybe even workshops, things like that for our members. So check that out. use the form, and if you would, that would be fantastic. I'm going to post it in the group, in the Hacks group. So if you guys want to share that, or those of y'all that are, if you're not in the Hacks group, go into the Hacks group, churchmediahacks.com, and I'll approve you. And I'm going to put it in there, and so if y'all want to like share it, comment on it, do whatever, do that so the more people will see it. And let the people know in the Church Media Hacks group that we're doing this. We've got a large group over there, and I want to make sure that they know that we're doing this show each week, and we're doing it for them. And so want to make sure that they're able to make use of this free resource that we're creating on a weekly basis for them. Let's see, any more questions? Black Magic is just a name. Let's see. As a Christian, I wouldn't ever use Black Magic. How about Elgato Stream Deck? Eddie, Black Magic is just a name. You need to you need to realize that. You're not going to catch a demon using Black Magic software or hardware. Okay, and you'll catch a demon if you don't have the Holy Spirit living in you, and which means that you don't have a personal relationship with Christ. So be sure that you have solidified your relationship with Christ. Having the name Black Magic, that's it. I mean, it's just a name. That's all it is. They don't have people, casting spells over cameras. They don't have people casting spells over switchers. Okay, so don't read too much into something that's really not there. Elgato makes great products as well. Elgato, what is that? Cat. It's the cat, right? So, the tiger, the cat, whatever. So these are just brand names. So don't read too much into them. Let's see. You should get a domain name. I did, and I don't remember what it is. Thank you, though. What is it? See, now you've piqued my thing, because I did this a couple of weeks ago. I just kind of threw it together, and I thought I'd need a domain name, and so I went and got a domain name, and I just don't remember what it was. Goodness gracious. Let me see. Can I sort my domain names by... Where's the view at? There we go. Can I sort them by, like, when I've just purchased them? That would be nice. Let's see. It wasn't Audit My Stream. It wasn't Better Church website. Churchmedia.stream. No. Church Media Academy. Media Creator. Media Gear. Media Guide. Media Guides. No. Not Church Media Hacks. I just don't remember what it was. I've got like 50 of these. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just go through and figure out which one it is. But I know that I got one. Maybe I was also, I think I bought 2 or 3. I just can't remember. I'm sorry. I've slept since then. It's not hacks, not. Well, I'm sorry. But I will let it. It may be Audit My Stream. AuditMyStream.com, because that's another thing that we want to do, especially that's going to be part of our mastermind for members only, is where we do live stream audits. AuditMyStream.com, does that go to it? That's a different one. That's the live stream audit request. Okay, so I knew that was okay. So anyway, I will get a domain name that will definitely help make it a little smoother. Let's see. We need to have a weekly team meeting so we can remind each other of all of this. Yes, I agree. Curtis's schedule is like really swamped. That's why I'm creating, like, I'm doing the shows, I'm working on the website, I'm doing all this kind of stuff because he's full-time ministry. And so he has time to do this and to strategize here and there as we roll out the monthly masterminds for our members. Then, he'll be a part of that as well. But like right now, he can just help generate the content, and I have to do all the production and all that other sort of stuff. So I'm working all the behind-the-scenes stuff. One of these days, I'm going to be able to hire Mr. Ford to be a part of this and to help us with a lot of this sort of stuff. So let's see. Tommy Willis, we went to Black Magic in our church for HDMI and SDI converters. Absolutely. Yep, they're the good ones. Let's see. Let's see. Tom Willis. I know guy can set up a YouTube channel. Yeah, I know you've been swamped too, Chris. I know that. Right now, using Reolink security cameras as the main cam. Wait, so you're using one of the security cameras as your main camera, not the video camera anymore? Let's see. Oh yeah. So Cord says to check out Ruslan Katie's video on Liquid Death. Yeah, I've been seeing that drama over the last few days as well. Now here's the deal: if Liquid Death, if they really do, if it is more than just a brilliant branding idea, right? I know people that drink with Liquid Death. I like Liquid Death. And when that first came out, and I bought a can, and I thought, is this carbonated? Was this a juice? Whatever. And I opened it, and it's just water, and it's just it's good tasting water, just a can of water. I thought, oh my gosh, this is like one of the most brilliant campaigns, marketing campaigns that I've ever seen. They have this overly designed can. They call it Liquid Death when it's the complete antithesis because it's liquid life. Why? Because it's water. I said this is brilliant. They have proven the point that that you can make something look like a premium product and sell it, and people will buy it, right? Because people want to buy a premium product. Why are you buying Macintoshes? Why are you buying iPhones? Because it's a premium brand, right? So, why do you buy Fiji water instead of just Dasani? Well, because Fiji's a premium water. So, clever marketing campaign. These guys are brilliant and stuff. But if it turns out that, no, they're really leaning into this, to the cultic side of all of this sort of stuff and going the opposite direction, and if they have a Wiccan that prays over their facility and does all that sort of stuff, okay, I'm out. I don't want to support that. I don't want to support. My values do not line up with any of that. I don't want to do. You're not going to catch a demon drinking that if you're a Christian. I mean, you're not gonna get possessed, by a demon anyway if you're a Christian, because you've got the Holy Spirit, literally the God, creator of the universe, living inside your body. So where He is, they can't be. They can't, take control of what He already has control over, right? So just keep that in mind. But I've been watching a little bit of that drama and all that. And I think I was watching Israel's, Israel, that's his name, right? Watching his response yesterday. And I think the overarching thing is that as believers, guys, we all need to be unified, right? We don't have to be unified on a point by point basis. You don't think like me, so we're going to kick you out. You're not going to be able to play with us or anything like that. As an example of that, the thing with the Southern Baptist Convention, who I have a very close tie to, disfellowshipping with what's the church, the Saddleback Church, Rick Warren's church, with that church because they have co-pastors. the title of pastor, is applied to both the husband and the wife. And so we're going to disfellowship with them as a convention. They can't be a part of our convention because of this one thing. I'm not going to get into that fight or anything. The overarching thing, right? The overarching principle is the scripture that says they will know that you're my disciples by your love for one another. So there's going to be little points of doctrine and preference and things that we're going to disagree with. Who cares? Okay, what's the core? Christ. We're fallen. We need a redeemer. Christ is our redeemer. So begin that relationship with him, quote unquote, ask him into your heart, right? You want to start that personal relationship that he wants to have with you. So begin that. Pray, say, Father, I'm a sinner. I need you. I need you to take control of my life. I need you to be my Savior. I want to make you Lord of my life. Come and take over. And you give yourself to him and make him Lord of your life. Great. Now start growing and being discipled and go from there. And you and God work out all these other little pieces of minutia, okay? But don't let them be something that is going to break fellowship. The earlier comment about I wouldn't use anything called black magic. Okay, if you don't want to use something called black magic, that's fine, okay? I personally think it's silly because it's just the name of the company. If you go back and say, why did they name it black magic? Why? Because their technology, things that they did, it's like they've got some sort of a voodoo. They make everything work well. It's wonderful. It's perfect. They've got this thing. They must be using black magic to make all these things that have never worked well together all work well together. Okay, big deal. That's it. They're not sitting there, over a pot, ooh, Eye of Newt and, and Tail of Squirrel, and make this HDMI cable work in this camera. I mean, they're not doing all that sort of stuff. Now, if Liquid Death is doing that, and I haven't researched it, right? I haven't researched whether they have, a Wiccan on staff or a member of the Satanic Church on staff who, officially blesses every bottle of water. If they've gone that far, it's verifiable that they've gone that far, not just some sort of an urban legend. Procter & Gamble worships Satan. That was something going on in the 70s and 80s, that Procter & Gamble, they were demon worshipers. And if you bought Tide, or whatever, if you shampooed with Head and Shoulders, you were worshiping Satan and all this kind of stuff. You need to get all the nonsense out of the way and stuff. But if somebody's really doing something, then obviously, you don't want to align with something like that, right? You want to avoid that appearance of evil, where there is actual evil. If there's actual evil happening, you don't want to align with, actual evil that's happening. If it's just something like, like Black Magic, the company, they called it Black Magic Design, boom, there you go. Okay, big deal. So enough on that, guys. Love you all. Let's see. Not enough bandwidth to do YouTube and Facebook. Okay, let's see. Remember, you can use Restream, getrestream.com, so that you have your bandwidth going out one time and then let them do the syndication for you, Tom. Let's see. I remember when Black Magic was sort of a laughing stock, but they kept at it until their products are now top notch. Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay, guys. Love you all. Take care. I've got a lot of stuff I've got to do, so we will see y'all over in the Hacks group. We'll see you. I'm going to start posting stuff that I post in the Hacks group. I'm also going to start posting over here on YouTube in the community tab. So be sure that you've got all the notifications and stuff turned on, so that when I put a question or, put a video or, a thought or whatever over in the community tab, that you guys are partaking in that. So y'all take care, and we will talk soon. Where is Fade to Black? Here's Fade to Black.